Welcome to Toxland. We're your hosts, Jesse and Bree, two besties on a mission to shake up the beauty industry from the inside out. Say goodbye to self-help overload and hello to our cheeky and unfiltered take on being a babe in a toxic world. Let's get toxic. Welcome back to Babes in Toxland. Today we are hosting one of our favorite people and favorite body plastic surgeons, Dr. Austin Hayes. Hey, Austin, how the hell are you?
No, I'm so good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here. We just found out you had 2 surgeries today, and you still made it over here to talk with us.
Yes, thank you. Yep. I'm excited to think of my toxic stories. I think I've got them.
That's good because we ran out of them.
Yeah.
And I need to correct something you said, Brie. You said one of our favorite body plastic surgeons. He's our favorite.
The best.
He's the number one.
Yeah, I have people coming in from other cities to see him at this point because they just don't have access to anything like that, even in big metropolitan areas like they would here at Dr. Hayes. So we think that you're incredible. We've seen your work. We're very impressed by it. And we thought it was really important to have you and your expertise here on our pod with us. So thank you.
As I demanded it.
Yeah.
I demanded it. Yeah.
Thank you. I know the text came through, and I paused for a second. I was like, "Am I toxic enough for this?" So, you guys, I love this, and you guys have been crushing the podcast lately.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Can I have a drink with Charles? Can that be arranged?
Right?
He would love to.
I mean, invite me along as a tag along. I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Have you met him?
No, but your podcast was great. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background. I want to know where you started in terms of plastic surgery, how you got here,
Yeah.
your initial interest. Give us all the tea.
Okay, how far back do I go? So I'm from Portland. I grew up here, went to college here.
It's so rare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny, I was at a bar probably like 5 years ago, and we were chatting with somebody, and she's like, "Oh, you're the only person from Portland I've met. I've lived here for 4 months."
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But went to Columbia in New York City, and then found plastic surgery. Trained in Seattle, trained in Baltimore. And then when I started my practice in 2014, I was doing kind of a little bit of everything, doing hand surgery, doing some breast reconstruction, and then, got pretty quickly just really narrowed down and decided that I wanted to do breast and body. And so...
When you first went to medical school, were you set on plastics or were you just not sure?
No, exact opposite. Exact
Talk
opposite.
about that.
Yeah. So, when you go to medical school, there's this kind of really, there's this big divide between surgical training and medical training. When you think of a cardiologist or an internist, that's the medical pathway. And then, of course, there are the surgical specialties. And pretty early on, I knew I was going to do surgery, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. And at Columbia, I was very lucky because you get to see a little bit of everything, and nothing was really clicking with me. Even the things that I thought, would be a natural fit. So I'm sitting across from one of my buddies. He's a craniofacial surgeon in LA now, a guy named Mitch. And Mitch is just so enthusiastic about plastic surgery. You get to operate on kids, you get to operate on adults. I'm going to be a peds craniofacial surgeon. And that was the hook. And so I bought a book that day, flipped through it. He was totally right. And I was sucked in. Totally have been stance.
Yeah.
Totally have my stance. And so here I am.
Yeah.
So tell me about the first surgery you ever did in plastics.
So that probably would have been a hand surgery. So it was November of 14. I would have been doing a lot of hand surgery. And so that would be myself. The first one I was training would be breast reconstruction surgery. The hand is an incredible device. It's like a little machine in there. So it's very cool. But it would have been like a carpal tunnel release or a pretty routine surgery. Now that's all changed. I don't do any hand surgery, just breast and tummies.
Tell us what you specialize in. I think that'll be important for our listeners to hear. Like what's on your roster typically?
Yeah, there's really only 4 things. So I tell people I just do 4 surgeries: breast lift, breast augmentation, tummy tuck, and I do a procedure called a labiaplasty. Do you know what that is?
Of course I do. Okay. You did it for one of my friends. She was low unnamed. She's very happy with her labia.
Yeah.
It was me.
Well, you know, anybody else.
I stopped. Yeah, I
Let's talk
saw.
about that too.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm the BBL connoisseur.
Yeah, that's the episode I was listening to on my way over.
I had a few. Okay. So let's talk about the breast basics. All right. So the latest advancements in breast augmentation, why do you think so many women are choosing lifts over augmentations or vice versa? What do you think are the current trends in terms of picking one over the other? Or
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say that at least for me, it seemed like breast augmentation was not going away, but decreasing at around 2017. So it's been a long time. Lots of people get breast augmentation. Breast augmentation is a great surgery. It's great when somebody needs an implant, and obviously somebody needs an implant if they want their breasts to be larger, or if they want very specific cleavage definition or fullness at the top. But if what bugs them is not any of those things, then a lift can be like a great surgery. I think there's a lot of awareness around breast implant illness, which is something that the plastic surgery societies are looking into and trying to figure out, what is going on in that situation. There's not a lot of data. There's not a lot of understanding of what that is or what that might be. There's no test. And so it's something that people come in and ask about. And I'm sure for lots of people, it will deter them from getting an implant. But for many, it's, hey, can we just talk this out? I'd like to hear a little bit more about this. In your experience, how common is this? And then they may move forward just feeling a little bit more informed.
What is the incidence of breast implant illness?
I can only give people my incidence. I've probably done around 700 augmentations. And to my knowledge, I've had 2 patients feel like they had it.
and what do they say? They're like, I just don't feel good, or what do those symptoms look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, the symptoms can be anything. I have a patient, she was 3 years out from surgery, kind of going off to college, more stress in her life, felt that more fatigued, more stress, pressure in her chest, acne. And I think, there are experts or I should say, there are people who center their practice around breast implant illness and taking out people's breast implants. I'm not that person.
It's a niche.
It is a niche.
It's a little bit.
Yes.
Yep. We deal with that with all the people that want to get facelifts after you've had too much filler.
Right. So that's not my practice. So I don't see a ton of patients for BII, but usually when somebody comes and feels like they have BII, it's kind of like I've looked everywhere and I have nowhere else to look, and this is the only thing I can think of. So that's the typical presentation for me. And it makes sense. I mean, if you've been worked up by your primary and they've done all of the tests and you have nothing and you feel like, you're desperate, you want to feel better, I get the desire to do that.
So in that case, do you take the implants out?
Yeah. So take the implants out. This is a little nerdy, but the implants have a capsule around them. The ASPS and the ASAPs, which is the Aesthetic Society, have shown that there's no reason to take the capsule out. Many people want the capsule out. I'm sure that there are niche surgeons who would debate that and say that should be taken out. But usually you'll just take the implant out. It's intact, and then let them heal, let them shrink. Their breast tissue will plump up a little bit. Their skin will tighten. I like to separate and not do a lift at the same time and wait and see if they need a lift. And in my experience, most people don't.
What's the capsule made out of?
The capsule is it's what's called a desmoplastic reaction. So it's the body reacting to something foreign around it. I bet it puts a little capsule around, possibly around filler material.
Yeah.
So it's just a little fibrous reaction throughout the whole body.
Just your own
Interesting.
Yeah, your own tissue. Yeah.
Usually, how soon after implants do people feel like, oh, I have this illness? Is it right away, or is it a couple of years?
That's not anything that I know data on.
Yeah.
Both of the patients that were mine, one was 3, and I feel like one was about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And it's interesting. The same thing can happen with filler, where it's like years later, it starts getting inflamed. It was great for years. And then all of a sudden they become ill or they become super stressed, and it's time to take it out. And it's hard to say, but it gets blamed on the product or the implant, and we forget that it's probably your body.
Right. Right. Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you remember when the first COVID vaccines, weren't they stimulating a reaction to people's filler?
They were, but pretty much every vaccine can.
Oh, okay.
So, but of course that was more of a hot topic.
Right.
So anytime someone's getting a vaccine, we always try and have it spaced out with the filler.
Oh,
and sometimes with Botox too.
yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've got some questions around types of implants and techniques,
Oh, yeah.
which I think that
Let's do it.
feel
I
like
love
some rapid fire here. Silicone versus saline versus gummy bear. What's the real deal?
All silicone implants these days are solid, meaning that they're cohesive. You can cut them in half and they'll sit there. So
So they won't like explode into your body.
they can still rupture, but it's not a liquid that's kind of getting everywhere. Gummy bears, many times people are referring to shaped implants that look like a teardrop when they come out of the box. Those, in my experience, are helpful for people who you're not basically require breast shape, so they may be particularly flat and have little breast tissue. And giving them that shaped implant gives them not only shape, but the volume. Many women have breasts that are smaller than they'd like them to be, but they really like the shape they already have. And so typically I'll use a round implant to just make their breast bigger. And then saline, less common. When it ruptures, no issues. Just saline is absorbed into your body, but more likely to wrinkle. Sometimes feel a little bit less natural. So most people go with silicone. Yeah.
What's considered the safest, or about the same?
I would say that they are both safe. However, saline implants, when they rupture, so the rupture risk is about 1% per year for an implant. That's just kind of the rough guide. It's not terrible. Yeah. And so saline implant ruptures, no problems. You have a rupture, the implant deflates.
So you can see it.
You can see it.
So you know.
Yeah. I just had a patient, 31-year-old saline implants. So her saline implants made it 31 years and then got a rupture.
So
It's nothing specific.
She got in the 90s?
She was doing some
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
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 That's wild.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it would have been like 94.
I think she said her implants were placed 32 years ago. And a super active person. But, one day it just cracked. Yeah. So really safe, right? Not going to cause a problem. Silicone is safe also, but you don't know if you have a rupture. And so silicone requires imaging periodically, usually with an ultrasound or an MRI, to make sure that it's not cracked. Yeah. So.
But silicone generally feels more natural.
I think so, yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about fat transfers versus implants, because I know that's been very popular too. Can you really get a good boob job without an implant?
Yeah. So the answer is maybe, and it really depends on your goals. What I tell people, so there are surgeons that specialize in breast fat transfer. Typically, as you know, a lot of the fat might want to go away. I have a new product to tell you about, by the way.
Is it Renubat?
It's called Viality. No relationship, but it makes the fat survival rate go away. Yeah, it's really cool. But oh gosh, so there are people who specialize in fat transfer, but it could take multiple procedures. And so when somebody has a very specific goal and wants one operation, I think an implant is just a much more reliable way to do that. Commonly, I'll combine those. You might put an implant in and then fat graft the cleavage to narrow up the cleavage lines to create kind of a braless look. So, but I would say if anybody wants more than probably a half a cup, maybe 1 cup at the most, they're probably going for an implant. Yeah.
Gotcha. So incision locations, which is something that comes up a lot with patients. You've got the armpit, under boob, areola. What's the best and why?
For me, it's the crease incision.
Underneath the breast.
So it's a short incision. It hides nicely. It kind of tucks in between the abdomen and the breast. Every surgeon, of course, has their own preference. Mine is the crease for 2 reasons. A nipple and an armpit are kind of considered dirty for a breast implant. When a breast implant crosses those spaces, it's more likely to pick up bacteria and is more likely to get a capsular contracture. And so the fold is the cleanest kind of entry into the breast.
I would have thought that nipple was cleaner.
Right. You think so. But you cross the breast tissue, you have all your ducts right.
Speak for yourself.
Do you drink that shine? But you're in Toxland now. We're talking nipples.
What was I going to say? So, then I can sew your fold. So you want the implant to stay up to kind of preserve the torso. We want the torso to shine and be by itself and not have the implant riding down on top of it or making it short. And so I can sew the fold on my way out when I do an augmentation through the crease.
Cool. Yeah. So I had a breast kind of lift reduction probably in, it's funny, I was looking it up on Facebook because that's how you figure out what you were doing.
I was doing that recently.
Yeah. Like I didn't have an iPhone. So I'm going to say 2010. So breast lift reduction, and I had the anchor scarring, and it held up really well, but I had a baby, going to have another one, hopefully. Will I be able to do that again, or should I do the anchor, or like, what's the protocol?
Yeah. So that's really common. No surprise that, people will have a surgery and then something will change, their body will change. And then, they'll maybe sag again or lose some volume. And so you go right back through the anchor and do the anchor again. Most likely your nipple doesn't have as far to go. So it's a short slide to get the nipple up. And then many times it's just a little skin removal at the bottom, maybe redoing the vertical too. So it's just a repeat of the anchor.
So I didn't have the anchor. I just had the lollipop.
Oh, you had the lollipop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what I said, but can I do the lollipop again, or do I need the anchor?
I'm a huge fan of the anchor.
But it just seems like, I don't want that. Sorry.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm sure and I feel like I talked my surgeon out of the anchor initially, and I think if I had done it,
where'd you go? He needs to know.
I heard this. I heard it. Yeah, tell me.
I went to Dr. Ray, Beverly Hills 90210 surgeons. It was
remember when he was on E?
Oh, absolutely.
You do remember?
Yes,
yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. Like that lore of plastic surgeon during that era. And
you're just like, beep, beep, come from Claremont.
Yeah. Well, I was like, where am I going to get plastic surgery in Claremont? Like, I didn't trust anyone. And to me, like at that point, it was a big deal. And so it was just like, I'm going to go to the best. And to me, the best is going to be the guy with a reality show on E.
It makes sense.
Of course.
Yeah, the funniest story is my mom. My mom was a RN in the OR for 45 years. And the first day she walks in to do surgery, it's like Dr. Gabriel's first day on the job. Wow. And she's like, I'm your scrub nurse, Kathy. I'm your assistant. She goes in with him. And he starts to do the stitch. And my mom's a big jokester. She's obnoxious in the best way. And she goes, that's not how Dr. Ray does it. And he's like, get out of my OR. That lady, keep messing. They're still friends to this day. But she was just like, that's not how Dr. 90210'd. Just to like mess with it.
I mean, he does do
like the funniest story. Like my family, we'd be like sitting down with our TV dinners, like watching Dr. 90210.
And then what year would that have been?
2005.
Maybe 2008? No, because it was definitely after high school. Like I think it was 2008 to 2010.
Before that.
It was before that.
Yeah, you must have gotten popular like in the early 2000s.
Okay, you must.
Yeah. Did that inspire you to be a surgeon?
No, but I really liked that show. I mean, I don't know. He just seemed like a compassionate guy. I didn't
His
watch
wife
it.
was always like pissed at home, like not eating and like upset.
Drama.
Yeah. No, he was really sweet. And I thought he actually, I mean, I think my boobs look great. I was still happy with them other than, being super obese during pregnancy. I think he did a really good job. And I went to look up like, he must still be in practice. Like he has like 2 stars. Oh, no. And I don't know what happened, but he was going
That is something that you're prone to when you go on like a reality show and will come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, maybe at the time, a lollipop, maybe that was the great choice. And every surgeon has their opinion. I would say that I'm a huge fan of the anchor. And the reason is that I want a breast that does not touch the abdomen. I want it to be totally perky. And so that scar that lives in the crease just gets rid of that extra that's touching the abdomen, at least for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And mine didn't for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Then maybe you didn't need it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to have another one.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the science of boob jobs and myths and misconceptions.
Okay, wait, I have another question about like the lollipop versus and just the way that your scar work, like the way you stitch. Like I mean, it is impeccable.
Oh,
like
thank you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It seems like so like you're like almost like a typewriter on what the stitches. Like you
have like this artistic ability, clearly. Yeah. I've never met somebody who has had work done by you and who's not sing your praises. I actually have a friend who wrote in who were like, why didn't he show me before and afters? I'm pissed.
Oh my goodness.
Did stuff to get a lot. Like, why did he not post me before and afters? Does he not think my boobs are right? I was like, I'll ask him.
That's I doubt that was it. That's hilarious. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. So this is an area where I do something that's actually really unique. And it's all about, for me, it's all about that crease incision. So when you operate on the breast tends to, in my experience, get weak, and the breast tissue likes to fall below. And the way you know that's happened is when you look at the scar in the fold, which you don't have one, but if you looked someone who's had a lift, you'll see that the scar is up on the breast. And so all of the skin below that scar is basically used to be their tummy, and now it looks like their breast. And it's not that it looks bad, it's that little bit of volume that snuck out of the breast would be really helpful if it was back in. Their cleavage would be a little more plump, the top would be a little bit more full. So probably 2 years ago, I came up with a novel way to kind of hold that fold in a stronger way and create like a little hammock for the tissue. And then a year ago, my PA came up with a way that we created a third hammock. So my operation has this silly name called a triple bra, which I know Dr. Kim won't like that I have a signature name, for an operation.
I think,
but I feel justified. But
no one else knows what that is.
So the breast is quite braless, and at least over the last patients who I've seen her a little more than a year out, it's really nice. So I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah.
How
brilliant.
Yeah, so brilliant.
Oh,
I mean,
you are.
And
thank you.
It's it's like really something that is restorative for women. You're not just like giving someone big boobs, but which you are, but it's important. Like I think breasts are such a representation of our femininity, and not feeling good about them really affects your confidence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool that you made it your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once you see, I'm sure you guys see this, once you see something that is kind of your pain point, when you come to clinic and maybe there's just that one thing and you can't unsee it, I just feel fortunate that, it was like a light bulb moment. It just popped in, and we tried it 2 days later and it worked.
That's so cool.
Yeah, breast lifts are really interesting surgery. Most people come in and they literally say the exact same thing. It's, I feel like there's a bunch of clothes that I can't wear. Summer dresses that require no bra, certain bathing suits, and then being naked and being in different positions and feeling like their breasts take on a shape they don't like. And that's so consistent. And breast lift is such a nice operation for addressing all of those things. I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
So cool.
I had the pleasure of witnessing one of your consultation processes with the patient that will go unnamed. I kind of jumped up on you. You had no idea I was coming, which was money. He's like, no text, no nothing. And I was just in the corner, like, are you so mad? That's and I'm from Seattle because I knew you were the absolute best. They had 2 consultations already. And I was like, just consult with this one person and let me know how you feel. And they were like, oh, without a doubt, I'm coming down to Portland. He's the one. Best consultation I've ever had in my life. And I was like, yeah, I thought you would feel that way. You had such a beautiful art to the conversation. It was no pressure. You educated her about the process. And you were just not sleazy or salesy at all. And it's
So rare.
such a nice job. So,
Thank you.
that's something I analyze on a daily basis, and the consultation process for any aesthetic treatment. I thought you did such a great job.
Thank you.
But
You should teach
she
lashes.
had no idea what she wanted, right? She came in thinking like, I just want big perky boobs. I might want an implant and a lift. And you so beautifully and eloquently explained to her why a lift would be best for her. And I thought that was just fascinating. So when you have patients that come in and they need a lift, right? And they want implants, they want like these high perky boobs. How do you address that and decide what's best for the patient?
I would say that those are the hardest conversations that I have. And because when you're trying to make something larger and also tighten it and lift it, those competing forces make that surgery extremely challenging and more likely to have problems. So more likely to have sagging or have the implant end up in the wrong spot. And so I think just spending a little bit of time and really getting to the exact, when this bothers you, what is it exactly that bothers you? And if we figure out that the bother is actually the sagging, and that, yes, while I'm at it, it would be nice to maybe have a little more fullness at the top or a breast that's larger. We realize that the core of that is the sagging.
Right.
And so if we can solve that, then my question becomes, do you think you would be happy there? We can always add an implant. Those surgeries can be done at the same time. They can be done separately. In my opinion, this is my own opinion, most of the time I think they're safer and more reliable when they're separate. So my goal is that they have the lift and then they wait. Let's let their scars heal really beautifully, really thin. And if you want an implant, let's do it. But let's wait maybe 6 to 9 months. And then I just find that I can't say most, but I would say in my experience, the majority of people are thrilled with where they're at.
With just the lift.
With just the lift. And then adding an implant, I don't know, it just becomes a lower priority. And they have breasts that are maybe more manageable because they're up. They can go braless when they want to. It just kind of simplifies their life, and they're not looking for more complexity all of a sudden.
So what if I came in and I loved your term, I have heavy naturals. So first thing I brought to you was like, heavy naturals. That's what you have.
You'll never remember that was not my term. I just need to make that very clear.
Heavy naturals.
That was a patient's husband's term.
The person who I got into will howl let it go. She's like, look at your heavy naturals. So I'm like, okay, so here we go. So I came in with my heavy naturals and I was like, I do. I've got like triple E's and a down to my belly button. But if I were like, hey, I want you to chop off half of them and I want a massive implant. That's what I want. That's what I need. What can you do? What would you say?
Wait, chop off half and
I want them lifted. So obviously a lot of skin got to go bye-bye. And I read a big implant.
Like so it sits at your chin?
Yeah.
So
Did you get that request?
No, not then.
It's just braids.
So obviously we would have the discussion, pros and cons. If it really came down to the fact that that's what you wanted, I would say, okay, I recommend you go see somebody else.
Oh, my drop.
Yeah, I know. And the reason is I just don't want to.
Send it to Dr. Kim.
I'd say my own work, but I might work on this.
My big story news. No, I love that. That's so good. I'm not doing it.
I mean, I know where the stress comes from in my life, and if my patients have problems,
I think
very
that's
stressed.
the best answer. I did not think you were going to say that.
Yeah, I didn't think that
That's
either.
the best thing that you could say.
Yeah.
It's like, I am not going to give you hope with unrealistic expectations. And if it's not safe and I'm not convinced in how the outcome is going to play out, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
I think
best thing a surgeon could do.
I think people appreciate that. And in that situation, we'll still part ways. They'll still go looking for what they want. But I want to make sure I'm telling you the truth. I had never parted ways with a patient in that where they were not thankful. They're like, hey, thank you for being honest. And then I give them a couple of names and they hopefully they find what they're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think is the most common requests that you get based on boobs on?
For me, well, because I talk about the lift that I do, I used to call it a double bra. Now I call it a triple bra. That's the most common request. And it's really cool because when I was rolling in here and I was listening to you talk about your husband and art and he's gaining more notoriety and kind of the impact on, his kind of celebrity in that way. But, as I keep kind of putting out my work, putting out basically my art, but, what other people, let me do. But people are coming from further and further away. So when they see a lift that hopefully has a really nice result, they're just starting to come. So that's the number one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Totally. Really special.
Totally.
It's a nice place.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that you're super ethical and passionate and really good at what you're putting out.
Thank you.
And that is very rare.
That's where my person in my life selected you, and that was actually her verbiage. She was like, he's ethical.
Yeah.
I can tell he's ethical. He's not concerned about like collecting a check from what I need done. He gave me that absolute best advice, and I was like, I knew he would. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a very cool process.
Yeah, you should teach consult classes. Like when she left, she called me and she was like, it was exquisite. It was so good. Like she is tough. Yeah, she was like, I couldn't believe how well he did. I was like, really?
I don't, like, I would pick apart a consult process because it's my job. And you were so cool. It was so cool. Sat there like a real friend, and you told this person in my life who I love and adore just exactly all the risks and everything too. Like, he was no bullshit. You let her know exactly what she was up against, and she's a person who's like a little scared at things, and boom, she's like, when can I book it? So
that was a quick yeah.
So I have a couple questions that I want to ask for my own consult. Sorry. I'm going to go there. I'm going to make it about me.
Yeah. You want to ask about labiaplasty?
No. That's not the idea. That thing is fine. I don't have any kids. But in the same breath of not having kids, I'm somebody who, my weight fluctuates a lot, right? My weight fluctuates by 20 pounds every year. That's it.
Every week.
Yeah, sure. And I'm someone who does not have kids yet, but I might. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have heavy naturals, and they're heavy. And I'm tired of them. And I'd like to put them up. I'd like to take the nipple from the rib cage to maybe wherever we
collarbone.
So my question is, what do I do? What do I do if I'm not sure if I want to have kids yet and my weight fluctuates a lot? What do I do with my tits?
So
you throw them over your shoulders.
This is a comment.
It's common. I'm not the only person I'm telling you right now. Our listeners are wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. I did not come up with the term heavy naturals. This is for the...
But it's so real. I'm like, they are heavy naturals. They are heavy and they're natural.
We all flux. And I would say if you know the place that you tend to live at most of the time,
your average,
you would have surgery somewhere in your average. Now, if you knew that you were trying to have kids, I'd say in the next 1 to 2 years, and it was just going to happen, then I would wait. If you come to the decision that you don't want kids, then obviously it's go time. But as you know, if you decide to breastfeed, your breasts will be enlarged for longer and they might change. And so, I don't know, I'd probably wait. But that's hard to tell. That's hard to tell people.
20s, and you're like, I might have kids at 35. Just do it, right?
Yes.
Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion, because I think that, no surprise, we want people to feel as comfortable as humanly possible in their body, right? That is the key, one of the keys or the pillars of our lives. And so, when you move into your 20s, this is such a formative time. We want you approaching as many situations as you can with a maximum amount of confidence. And so I would happily do that surgery for someone. Yeah.
That's so well said and so true. I mean, when I got mine from Dr. Ray, I was in my early 20s, and it was something that I just knew I always wanted. And I knew I was going to have kids later, but
Not at that time.
I kind of, yeah, I mean, I was on the fence, but
But you weren't having him like in the next
no,
2
not at
years.
the time. No, yeah. But it boosted my confidence so much. Like, again, it's such a pain, like it can be a pain point for your femininity. And I just never really felt good because I was really heavy as a kid. My boobs were really big. Like it felt dysmorphic. So when I had them chopped off and up, I was so glad that I did that in my 20s. And I was broke. I
heard you say that.
I was so broke. I should not have been able to pay for it, but I did. And I'm so happy I did that because I'm still pretty happy with them now, but I'm happy that I got to live that 15 years of my life feeling good about myself.
Absolutely. I feel like that is probably the number one statement about breast lift and reduction is so glad I did it. And for people who didn't do it in their 20s and maybe, didn't have that opportunity, it's, I wish I had done it sooner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just finance it.
Sit down.
So give us the biggie. We're going to talk about crazy patient experiences.
Okay.
So let's go over like some celebrity requests and unrealistic expectations. Have you ever had a patient come in and specifically ask for like a certain celebrity's boobs?
Yes and no. Not where they specifically want. They bring in wish photos, and I would say probably the most common wish photo is Emily Ratajkowski.
Yeah.
Her and her dress are so nice.
Yeah.
Right?
What the hell is that?
Emrata?
I gotta look her. She has.
Oh, so really nicely shaped. They have a natural drop to them. You kind of don't know if they're real or not. Would you agree with all that?
Yeah. And I mean, her body is just like, she's like the body. She's like the Heidi Klum of Gen Z. She also has a podcast. And
Oh, yeah.
But my patients, I'm very fortunate. My patients are amazing. They're incredibly realistic. And so if they show me that photo and they kind of have her starting place, that's great. Maybe they'll get her look. But if they don't, say they don't have that drop, they're have very small breasts, really tight skin envelope, no sagging whatsoever, they won't look like her. And when I tell them that, they're all like, oh, I totally get it. It makes sense. And so I'm very, very fortunate. My patients are awesome.
She's one of the most searched breast augmentation comparisons on Google.
I would say if anybody brings in a celebrity, she's in the photo deck. Yes.
do you think that those are implants?
I have to assume they are.
Yeah.
But the only reason is just because it's kind of too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, sir, but do you think so?
Yeah.
So they'll modify.
Yeah.
What's the most rewarding transformation you've ever been part of? Like, what sticks out to you where you're like, damn, I did good. I'm like, sleep on this.
Oh my goodness. I have
Sleep,
many.
baby.
Man, there are many. But
Have you ever cried?
oh yeah, I've cried. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm not sobbing. But my patients, when my patients cry, I cry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's hard
For
not
sure.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You've really. I have a woman right now who's from South America and lives here locally now. And kind of, I did a lower body lift, which is a 360-degree tummy tuck, and she kind of just wrapped up. She's, had one of her last visits. And she was telling me a story about, kind of previous relationships that she had been in and, basically, kind of mentally abusive past partners. And like this was kind of moving beyond that and shedding that. And she was crying. And, my patients made me cry for sure.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah.
That's deep. Yeah. That's really precious and special.
I think a lot of people who are listening to this are going to want good jobs, or they do.
For sure. I think it's probably what the most common surgery for females. Do you ever work on men?
I don't actually. I have just a couple men that I'll do a tummy tuck on from time to time.
And Charles Yu gave us permission to ask you if you do men work. He's looking for like a slice of the chest and then
Yeah. So I heard what Charles was looking for. He was talking about the surgeon in Beverly Hills, and I'm forgetting his exact name, but I'm full on with find the expert, find the person who does exactly what you're looking for and does a ton of it. And so that's why I don't tend to operate on men, is that I don't operate on a lot of men, so I can't guarantee you that I'm delivering the highest quality.
Are male breast reductions very different from women's?
Men vary. Men can grow breast tissue for sure. It's called gynecomastia, and it can come in different forms. Usually there's kind of a small amount under the nipple, and you just go in and remove that, and it's a great surgery. It helps a ton of people. I just don't do a lot of it, so I refer it on. That great operation. Yeah.
Is there any surgeries that you do that aren't under general?
I do a wake labiaplasty.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's funny. I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of it. Actually, my friend in Orlando.
You just numb the whole area up and they can
totally numb the whole area. Yeah. We don't talk. We don't tense stuff. Yeah. I mean, we
don't speak. Working on your this.
No, I think it's probably the opposite. I doubt they want to talk to me. Especially they're listening to music, watching a movie, doing something. And I'm kind of giving them a little bit of a heads up if I need to inject some.
I had a friend that had a labiaplasty done by you. And she was like, it's the best thing I ever did. I can sit without sitting on my labia.
Wow.
A labiaplasty is just as good as a breast reduction. I mean, you put them in the exact same category.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's like, I used to sit on my labia. Sat down and laying. So I was like,
wow.
That is
wild.
A lovely operation. It helps a lot of people, all, wearing clothes, tugging, pulling.
Horrible.
Yeah, tucking. It just makes people so happy and so comfortable. I love that operation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how long does that take?
It takes me 2 hours and 30 minutes because I put 99% of my stitches are all buried. So there are all these tiny little stitches all internally to absorb. And that's just very meticulous.
Yeah.
To get those in there. It takes a while.
I've got a couple of post-op questions for you, which I think might be important.
Okay, but I have another question about your stitching. Obviously, I'm very curious about it because, what is it that makes your stitching so unique? How did you kind of get that art down?
That's a great question. This is a style thing for me. Let's say somebody comes in and wants surgery. I bill them for my time. And so if somebody comes in and there's not a tummy tuck is this much money, it's your tummy tuck and it's going to take me this long, and in my mind, I'm going to do this right no matter what. And so there's no incentive for me to rush or speed. I want to work obviously at a nice pace and get the surgery done, but I am in there nitpicking every stitch. It's just the way I'm built. I can't not do it. That's not a brag. It's just how I'm built. I will just tear myself apart if I don't. So,
were they?
Oh, do you have a guess?
No.
I'm a Gemini.
Is that right? You I'm
a Gemini.
You know what your rising and your moon sign is?
Jesus.
I don't. I think I was born at 3 something in the morning.
Weird.
Okay.
Practice, I guess she'll fucking kid us off.
Let's kill you.
Let's talk about aftercare.
Yeah.
Because I think our listeners will want to hear this. How long does it take to feel normal again after a breast lift?
Oh, man. I would say feel normal. People are up and walking around their house the day of surgery.
I know.
Yeah. But feel normal 2 weeks maybe to feel normal.
It's I had an experience with my person who we stayed at the Ritz, which 10 out of 10, highly recommend. But that's where you should recover. You get cold bottled waters delivered every hour. Oh my God, you're in plush king size bed, so you can be high as a kite. She didn't take Oxycontin the next day.
Did not.
No.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
And one of her walked one to work, and I was like, chill the fuck out. Can you sit down? she would not do that. And I had to tell her to stop lifting things. She felt good.
That's
She felt
so
really
incredible.
We have an amazing anesthetist, a woman named Megan, who works with us. So she puts you all the way to sleep, but the way she does it is with propofol, which is kind of it would be like what somebody would use to put you asleep first. Exactly. Yes. And then uses another medicine called Precedex, and that changes the experience of pain. Then I try to numb you up as much as I can. Did a post recently. So now it's like 52 or 53. So the last 53 tummy tucks I've done, all but one had no pain when they woke up. Wow. So 0 out of 10 pain, including an all the way around tummy tuck. Wow. So I think that...
Wait, all the way around?
Yeah, lots of tummy tucks are 360. They lift the butt at the same time. Yeah.
That's wild.
And so I think that's why people feel better. Early on. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like I picked her up and she was dressed and she was like a little loopy for like a half an hour and then she was fine. Yeah. She's like, "Can we get a glass of wine?" I was like, no.
Wait, because you numb like you do local?
Yeah. So I do local, but then I was always doing local, and then we purchased a surgery center a few years ago. Megan started working with us, and another anesthetist named Jill. And anyway, so this protocol they have, that makes the pain better. So I numb them also, but the experience that they have for the days after, because they don't get any narcotic during the surgery and none impact you because they don't need it, their receptors are not primed looking for more pain med.
That's amazing.
It's really neat.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We should do that for everything. We wouldn't have the...
What do you think the biggest mistakes are that patients make to sabotage the results?
They don't really sabotage the results in my experience.
They listen to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they don't always listen to me, but thankfully nothing.
What it would be like if they don't wear their bra. They decide to go for a run the next day. Like, how could that mess with the results that you had intended?
So after an augmentation, we really want to hold that implant in place. We want that up. So if they're bouncing or overdoing it, they might push their implant out of place. Breast lift, overdoing it with their arms, that T, where they cross in the anchor incision, is fragile. That could break down. Tummy tucks are bent over for 2 weeks. So they have had a lot of skin removed. They can't even stand. So if they stand up, they could pull their scar into a weird position, come apart. Thankfully, that's never happened. But and then a labiaplasty, if they don't lay low, they just get really, really swollen. Yeah, you can imagine.
It's like, it's probably like giving birth.
Yep, that hurt.
Okay, so we take this for champagne, and then we're gonna do some rapid fire talk.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
We want to answer the other.
Let's do it.
Okay. Time for some quick and dirty choices. No overthinking, just go with your gut.
Good.
Big and bold or subtle and natural?
Subtle and natural.
Under or over muscle?
Over.
Round or teardrop?
Round.
1 week post-op recovery or 1 year post-op recovery?
Who's more dramatic?
What looks better?
What looks better?
Yeah. 1 week or 1 year?
1 year for sure.
Wait, what is... I don't know what that means.
Most requested size, C or D?
D.
Really?
Wow. Botox for boobs, gimmick or legit?
Oh, both great.
In their boobs?
Oh, wait. Oh, for in their boobs?
Botox.
Oh. I don't have any experience with that. I would say, no, not a ton. No, I haven't.
No, I've heard that people are doing Botox.
Is it supposed to lift?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that works.
It doesn't.
Well,
it sounds like a waste of Botox.
Yeah, it's a lot of Botox.
I mean, I'll try it.
You did so good. Thank you. Okay, what's a toxic trend in the beauty industry that you wish would disappear? Like, what are you so sick of hearing about? Plastic surgery, aesthetics, like, you're done with it. It's not real. Like, so why are you wasting your time on that?
Breast implant illness?
Yeah. That's a tough one. for me, because I'm so niche, I don't even hear about the trends in aesthetics. It's like I have such a little lane that I roll in. That's all I hear about. Yeah.
I'm so curious if we dropped your practice in the heart of Beverly Hills, like how that would shift your experiences with patients and, shift what you have to do to meet patients' needs. And I'm just curious.
It would be really interesting. As there's, a different aesthetic. People would have different things they want.
But you'd be about 10 years.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you wouldn't even be able to breathe.
Yeah.
Which is why you don't live there.
I'm trying to figure out how I get to 4 days a week. That's my current project.
You're 5 days a week?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Which is a good problem to have. I'm not complaining, but it's things are really busy lately. Yeah. So
boundaries.
Yeah, I'm trying. The older I get, the more I learn. Yeah.
You have to. Yeah. You have 2 kiddos?
2. Yeah.
2 boys, right?
2 boys. Nice. 12 and 10. Got a 6th grader.
Nice. Oh. Yeah.
How old is your son?
2.
Man. Yeah. Goes so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah. I know. Already too fast. He'll be 2 next month. So, yeah.
So what's one piece of advice you give to anyone considering breast augmentation of any type?
Yeah, I think the main thing to know is that, it's not a lifetime device. It's a wonderful surgery when it's after you meet with a surgeon and have a consult and meet somebody who you trust, who you like their work. But it's not a lifetime device. You'll end up having other surgeries. I think that's the main thing to know. Mm-hmm. Odds are that an implant will last somewhere between I tell people maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 years. They can certainly last longer. That saline patient lasted 31 years. But I think it's like, hey, if I'm going to do this, the other thing, I guess, let me say one more thing. Our body is the only one we're ever going to get. Mm-hmm. And by, taking care of our tissue, meaning not going too large with the implant, not stretching out the tissue, those are kind of unfixable problems. Mm-hmm. And so I would say, there's a plastic surgeon in Texas who calls it tissue-based planning. It's like, this is what your body wants to hold. I recommend you stay in this range. And I'm fully in with that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Where can our listeners find you if they want to book a consult or get an augmentation with you?
DR and then Austin Hayes at Instagram, Hayes. Yeah.
Amazing. And you're located in Portland. You're with the Portland Plastic Surgery Group.
Yep. Right in downtown Portland, right on the river. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great space. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything toxic to tell us?
How much time do you have?
All the time in the world.
Okay, so I was thinking about, I think I have 2 stories. This is an old story. This is an embarrassing story from residency training. So when you're a resident, you guys know what residency is, obviously. Okay, so when you're after medical school, you figure out what your specialty is going to be and you go work as a resident. You're kind of like you're training for about 6 years. And when you first start, you're an intern. And so that's the first year. So when you go on rounds, you meet all the patients for the morning, you figure out what they need. And then the older residents will go off and usually operate, and the younger ones will stay back and get the work done. So my older resident calls me and he says, you need to put an A-line in, Mr. So-and-so in room 2. And an A-line is an IV that goes in the artery. And it's to measure blood pressure constantly. And so I'm like, dude, I've never done that before. I don't know how to do that. And
doctors don't normally do that, do
they? If you're in the ICU and you're a resident, you might do it. But, obviously there's your first time and you're certainly hoping that you've seen it done before. And he's like, just go on YouTube. You're gonna figure it out. It was basically like, hey man, I'm busy too. I can't help you. So you need to figure this out. So I walk in the room and, I don't come off as super official, but, I'm trying to act like I know what I'm doing. And the guy's sitting there and his daughter's sitting next to him. Oh, no. And I'm like, sir, they think you need an A-line and it's to monitor your blood pressure. And I'm going to put an IV in in your wrist and go ahead and sign this document and I'll be back and get my supplies. So I go out into the hallway and I find the computer, I fire up the computer, YouTube. Okay, we got a 10-minute video. We got a 10-minute video and we got, I think it was like a minute and 15 seconds. So I fire this thing up. There is no audio. It's clown music. Yeah. It's da 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 da, and I am like,
oh shit,
engulfed in this video. And the nurse walks up next to me, and she's standing there. You know, as a resident, you've got like 4 pagers on. You're the guy to come to, or the woman to come to for when the nurses need something. You're gonna get it done. So I'm standing there, just kind of wrapping the video. It's like this. And I do this slow turn and it's the patient's daughter. Yes. That is mortifying.
Was she like,
no? She was like, is it okay if he eats? And I was like, yeah, he can eat. And then she didn't say a word.
She didn't?
No. The procedure went very well. I got it the first time, which is probably, you know,
it's a really good YouTube video. Toxic story. I'm so proud of you.
And then I have one more, but I'll go after you.
How old was the daughter?
She was probably 20 something.
Okay.
I mean, it was I knew.
Yeah.
Yes. And I have one more, but you're just at a toxic story?
Yeah.
Okay.
People are sick of our toxicity.
We know we're getting with these girls.
So you inspired me for this story with, what one was I listening to? I think it was Lovely's podcast. And this was the army or the military guy coming home in the family, which is like, those videos will make me cry too. Yeah. Or when the soldier comes home to their dog.
The dog suddenly remembers them.
It's like, don't make me cry right now. So anyway, here's this story. And I'm going to tell it a little bit out of order so that, because it makes more sense to do it that way. Okay.
Love it.
Okay. So it's like, it's going to be a few minutes. Okay. So
take your time.
It's November 2008. And I am now a second year. That's probably not far from true.
She graduated high school.
Sad for me. I'm old. But so I'm doing one of the hardest jobs in the city of Seattle. So I am a resident in Seattle, and there's this job called trauma doc. And what that means is there's a level 1 trauma center in Seattle called Harborview, which is this amazing hospital, and people come from all over. I think it's the only level 1 trauma center for 5 states. Like 30% of the U.S. landmass, like this huge catchment area. And your job is that when you, whenever anyone comes in who's had trauma, you're the first person to see them and you call all of your consults. And so this one day I call this consult and there's a kid who's maybe been in a car crash. He wasn't very injured, thankfully. So this is not an injured story, but this woman comes down and she's looking really, really good. This pediatric resident. And so I spend basically the next kind of 2 months oogling this pediatric resident at the hospital. Unfortunately, I have absolutely no courage. So I'm like wearing 10 pagers. I have a radio. I'm talking to the helicopter. I'm talking to the ambulances. I'm, opening people's chests. I'm, putting in lines, obviously with a huge team. This is not just me. But anyway, so a couple months go by. I go up into the unit and she's working up in the unit. And I start to see her. I'm still too shy to talk to her, but I am enamored. With this. I'm enamored with this woman. And I'm like pacing around the hospital at night to see where she's at, trying to figure out what her call schedule is. Anyway, so time passes and I hear that she's leaving. I don't even know. Actually, never mind. There was one time we were rounding on this patient, huge team, 20 people around an ICU bed. And she's in front of me and like takes a step back unknowingly and like leans up against me accidentally. I don't budge. So I'm sitting there and she doesn't move either. And she doesn't budge. I'm like, oh my God. This was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, okay, so I hear she's leaving. She's going back to the Children's Hospital. I have no idea when I'm going to see her. So it's terrible. But I get on Facebook and I find her.
Love it.
And I'm like, hey, can't remember exactly what I said. Like, hey.
You DM'd her on Facebook.
I'm not sure that
You
know.
sent her a messenger.
Yeah.
Oh my.
No, there was no messenger.
Yeah.
This was basically email on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you know who I am, but, you know, I heard you're leaving and I was wondering if you want to go out with me. So, okay, so there's something maybe going on that night or the next night. So we go out, we have a great time.
You went out with her?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's fantastic. She's funny. She's really pretty. She cooks. She listens to music. She has all these interests. Okay. Sorry, it's the long story. Forgetting me.
And she's a dude now.
So we go on a couple more dates, and it's like mid-January now. And I think we went to her apartment, cooked dinner. Sure, we were having some wine, watching TV. And she turns to me, and she's like going to ask me this question. And the story pauses right there. And now I'm going to jump. Okay. So she's turning to me and she's going to ask me this question. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to July of 2002. Okay. July 2002. I land in New York City with my college girlfriend. And she and I, we were together for a long time, 5 or 6 years. And we go to medical school together. And she's a dental student and I'm a medical student at Columbia in New York City. And when you get to Columbia, you meet all the students. It's absolutely amazing. Just best thing that ever happened to me going there. And pretty soon, the studying picks up and it's time to crack the first test. And so you've been there for 6 weeks and now the first test is going on. And my girlfriend and I end up buddying up with this guy and studying with him a lot. We're just this little study group. And I think he found it, but he finds this little tucked in room, Columbia's vertical, 20 floors up in this building. It's in a lab. Nobody knows, but it's this great place to study. And so we would go study there at night. So it's Saturday night. It's maybe a couple days before the test. It's probably midnight. My girlfriend kicks off and goes home. I'm going to stay for a little bit and study. And I study for 30 more minutes, then I'm going to leave. And I stand up, get my stuff, and I'm like, I'll see you later, dude. And I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. And he's like, yeah. And he pauses and he looks at me and he goes, I think you'd really like my cousin. He's like, she's in Seattle. I think you'd like her. Sorry, hold on one second. And I go, oh, okay, cool. And never talk about it again. I live my life. Fast forward, now I'm sitting on this woman's couch and she turns to me and goes, where'd you go to med school? And I go, I went to Columbia. She's like, do you know Mark, Sarah?
Shut up. Is her nose in?
Yeah.
Oh,
I go, September 2002, Mark told me that I would like you. Yeah, that's my wife.
That's your wife.
Yeah.
Oh my! I was
It's not crazy.
I was so freaked out. I was like, "What happened to this woman? Where did she go?" It's your wife.
Yeah.
I could cry. Oh my! It's your wife.
Yeah.
When you were telling that story, I was like, this better
I
be
was
your
like
wife.
really scared. It was like she likes this girl. She's really an asshole. She's never it's your wife.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's so sweet.
Just like that on being on Toxland.
Wait, what's your wife's name?
Jocelyn. Yeah.
We love you.
Shout out, Jocelyn. We see you. So she's a pediatric.
Yeah, pediatrician.
God.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
I want to meet her.
That's
We
the
should.
best
Yeah.
story we ever had.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
alone one of the coolest stories I've ever heard.
Sorry for the near tears. I tend
to
to
do that. So now you know his cousin too.
Love that.
So
Oh yeah.
and you guys are
Yeah. I mean, I think
Once
she
you got
picked up
this.
the phone right then and she was like, hey, Mark, guess who I'm sitting next to? And he's like, Yeah, '02 to '08. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really
This is one of the best things I have ever heard.
The universe is pretty crazy, as you guys.
Yeah.
It kind of can deliver the things you need, it seems like.
When you need it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the invisible string theory?
No, tell me.
Okay, so it's basically that. It's like people will come into your life when they're supposed to be, and we're connected our entire lives, but they come in and out, and it's totally.
That would not surprise me in the least.
Oh my God.
I'll give you another example.
I thought you were like, yeah, I never saw the lady again. She's your wife. She's your baby mom. She's also a doctor. Like, much better kid with a scamp. Jesus.
Fabulous. I love Jocelyn. I don't even know what she looks like, but I'm obsessed.
It's just beautiful, obviously. God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm developing a medical product right now, and I've been doing this for about 2 years and pitching it to different companies and getting a lot of interest, but a lot of like, hey, that is a really nice idea. It's a great idea, but we're going to pass. And in the fall of last year, if the universe was going to pluck out a human to say, this is the person who's going to be interested in this, like every little part of this person, is handcrafted to start this journey with you. That person just landed in my lap in the fall, and I'm like, it could not be the more perfect person.
Cool.
So just, really interesting. Yeah.
I can't wait for a follow-up episode with you on hearing about the product and this person.
So. I hope so. Yeah.
Is it, so it's like, I'm assuming it's in the like breast kind of.
It's in the wound closure space. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we're going to start prototyping.
Well, congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
So cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate
What
it.
a pleasure, Dr. Hayes.
Yeah.
To know you is to love you. I feel lucky to be sitting with you. Feel lucky to refer people towards you. Thank you for sharing your gift. Thank you for being so legit.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
ethical, bringing that to, a plastic surgery world. It's like, we need more of that.
Thank you.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both for having me, and thank you for your podcast. I've been crushing it lately, like I said. I love hearing smart people talk, and I just love it.
Well, I don't know about that, but
No, it's so true.
Dr. Austin Hayes, you all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming to Toxland and dialing up your toxicity with us.
Until next time, stay toxic.